All right, so I'm here with Dayton Associate Head Coach Ricardo Greer. Thank you for coming on and taking the time. I greatly appreciate it. You know, how has last year's success and experience, in some meaningful games down the stretch? Obviously, you guys did well in A10 play. How has that kind of benefited the offseason in terms of the motivation, the work ethic, and obviously not just the offseason, but going into this year?
Yeah, last year we had a really young team and, we really didn't start the season very well, losing 3 home games. So, for us as a coaching staff was trying to learn these guys, especially some of the kids that we had never gotten to meet because of COVID and weren't allowed to come on campus. So it was a learning process. But, once we were able to learn them and help them grow and also them learn us, we were able to would take off. So it was a fun ride, especially when you're dealing with such a young group. Really helped us grow towards the end of the season, and during the off season this year was a little easier for us to implement stuff because they already knew what was expected.
Yeah, definitely. And, like you said, you guys were a young team. So obviously you have a lot of guys coming back. There are a lot of expectations, and I do think there might be added expectations, possibly just because of what happened in 2020 with you guys not being able to play. As a coaching staff with still a young team, how do you manage, the expectations moving into this year, and making sure everyone, especially in the locker rooms, focused on that day to day?
Yeah, one of the hardest things was at the end of the year last year when the NCAA tournament, Selection Sunday, and you didn't get in, and for them, it was heartbreaking because they felt that they've done enough. But at the end of the day, those little games that you should have not lost and you lost because we weren't locked in or we weren't doing what we were supposed to win the game came back and bit us. So, this year, with all the expectations from outsiders, these kids need to stay locked in. At the end of the day, last year you were hunting. This year you're going to get hunted. And every game is going to be a big game for us. So they just need to understand that regardless of the expectations, got to keep the main thing. The main thing is doing what we need to do to be the best versions of ourselves.
Definitely. And, you know, I could run down the whole roster. Like I said, obviously you guys are a talented group. I know Holmes, obviously deservingly so. It's kind of in that conversation of, A10 player of the year, one of the best, freshmen, obviously last year, A10 freshman of the year. What has been something you guys as a staff been working on with him for him, kind of to take that next step, as a sophomore?
One of the biggest things with Deuce is he's one of our hardest workers. He goes in every day with his lunch pail, and regardless of all the high expectations for him, he's the same kid that was here last year that worked his tail off. And one of the biggest things for him is now you're not a freshman no more. You got to be a leader. You have to be more vocal. You have to be more demanding. You have to go out there and bring your team with you if we're going to be the best versions of ourselves. So for him, that was one of the biggest things is you can't be quiet anymore. You can't sit in the sides and not say anything. If something's not right, you need to speak out and just be a leader and bring your team along.
Yeah. And you talk about just leadership in general, have there been, do you feel, and maybe you don't want to speak to this personally, but, a couple guys that have kind of taken on that leadership role, as you said, it's a young team, but obviously you guys have a lot of experience. You're going into, this year. Have there been some voices that you think have been a little louder than others in a positive way that you see kind of leading the group?
Yeah, we have Tumani Kamara, who's just the natural leader and who the guys follow, and he's done an amazing job of doing that and being a leader not only just by speaking but also doing it every day on the basketball court, outside the basketball court. So he's just been phenomenal. And then we have other guys like Kobe Elvis and Malachi Smith that are feeling their way, and as guards they have to be leaders. So they've been great also.
Yeah, awesome. And you do have a couple, you have a couple obviously new faces, just touch on I know the transfer from Georgia you brought in Baker, obviously Mike, highly touted freshman coming in. How do you think they can help, contribute, or what their contribution, looks like to this Dayton squad?
Yeah, Mike is a very talented young man, but still coming into college is a different curve. The speed of the game, needs to get stronger. But you can see flashes of someone that's going to really be able to help our program. So we're really excited that he's here, at 6'9", playing different positions. It's great for him, but, still has a long way to go. And, the guys on our team, which is great. Now their sophomores are holding him accountable and helping him be the best version of himself. So it's been great to have him here. And then Tyrone, athletic, runs the floor, has to go up against Deron Holmes every day. So it's also helping him be better also. So, we're excited that we have them both here.
Yeah. And, I know, you came on board 2017 with Coach Grant, looking just at Dayton and the program itself. I feel like obviously a powerhouse, not just in the A10, but in the NCAA as well. When it comes to scheduling, you look, obviously, I feel like personally that, I was talking to Coach Rhodes at VCU. I feel like VCU and Dayton and a couple other programs as well are able to schedule well because of your consistent, excellence in terms of, some bigger non-conference games. How has scheduling been for you guys? And do you think your sustained success has helped you kind of, schedule some people that maybe some other A10 schools could not?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things for us is trying to get our guys ready for A10 play. And if we're able to play some of the best teams in the country, helps them grow and helps them be battle tested when A10 play comes. Last year, we went to Orlando and we had to play Miami and Kansas. We had VTech at home. So these games are great games because they're against high level competition. And it also helps, the program hopefully get a large bid instead of having to win the A10 tournament to get into the NCAAs.
Definitely. Well, listen, I know there's a lot of expectations. I like to say expectations don't matter, but it's good to have them. That means you're building something. You have a great team. I'm excited, obviously, just as a college basketball fan for this year at Dayton, and I appreciate you taking the time.
I'm excited too. Thank you so much, and go Flyers.